Hi, everybody. Trampa in the house. So, hi, it's so great to see everybody. So today I decided I wanted to talk about something that gets some pushback. But before I do that, I want to say that thanks for joining me again. And I'm looking forward to having another one of these great conversations. I always leave my lives feeling really uplifted. So, and that's because of all you. So, I just want to say thanks for having the conversations, even though sometimes they're hard. I get it. I don't know why we're in a space we're in where we can't have these conversations. I think I say that every week. It's just mind blowing to me. So anyway, I'll let y'all show up here and then we'll get started on some of the things I've had on my mind in the last week or so. Really I'm getting a lot of I'm getting hi Chloe. Well, thanks for making it. I'm getting a lot of parents reaching out to me, and I'm in a weird space because you know I'm not a therapist. Never want to be a therapist, just so you know, but I'm not a therapist, and I try to do the best I can do by giving them the resources that I have, and also sort of giving them my own personal experience with stuff. But it's a weird space to be in, I'll be honest with you, because I don't want to give the wrong sort of idea that I have. I mean, my idea is don't transition your kid, but not everybody feels that way, right? And um I think it's important that parents understand there's lots of ways to handle your trans kid, right? Most importantly, I think, and one of the things I say is um, pushing back a little bit. I do believe that I think with anything, with a kid says I am or I want or give me or any of that stuff, I'm a big believer of a little bit of a pushback. I'm not an easy dad, just so you know. I'm the dad that, I'll reward you if you perform and you're doing great in school and you're showing me that you're, a respectful little kid. I'll reward you, but I'm also the kind of dad that will make you stick to what we're supposed to be doing. So with that, when parents reach out to me, I feel really not only do I feel obligated, I do, and that's not a bad thing, but I also feel on some level that I'm just giving you my opinion. So any parents in the room, I'm just giving you my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. It means what I see as an older transsexual. And when I was a kid, I didn't have a bad childhood. Just so you all know, I did not have a bad childhood. I had a pretty awesome childhood. And contrary to what everybody thinks, right? Everybody thinks, "Oh, you must have had a bad childhood." Nope, I didn't have a bad childhood. I had such a great childhood. I grew up in the 60s and 70s. Gender nonconforming was a total thing, right? Kids play with gender. Kids have always done that. People, I don't understand. Look, everyone, and thank you again. Thank you so much for joining me today. It always makes me so happy to see you all. And I see a lot of my regulars here. Hi, Ontario, Canada. So it does. It makes me real happy that you're willing to have these conversations because not everybody is. Not everybody's so hard lined these days. I'm not hard lined on some level. I mean, I think I'm probably hard lined on the transitioning of children. I think I do not feel that we are in a space to be doing that right now. And I don't think we have enough research. And I don't think a child knows who they are. I don't. I don't change my mind. But you're more than welcome to change my mind. But I'm not sure if you can. So thank you for saying that. I don't for me being brave. I don't feel brave. I don't feel brave to come on here and have these conversations at all. I don't. I don't feel brave for transitioning. I don't. I feel that it was a necessity. I hope you understand the difference. I don't think I'm brave. I think that everything I do in my life on some level, like this or transitioning, was a necessity. It was in order for me to move forward in my life. And being here having these conversations is because I do believe that it's for me to move forward too. I'm not gonna sit back and not say something when I see something. It's really bizarre that we are in a space now where we're not allowed to do that. So, I appreciate that you think I'm brave, but I think I want you to all know that I do this because I want to do it. And I do that speaking out because I feel like I need to do it. And I don't feel brave. I feel empowered, maybe. I feel happy that I'm allowed on some level to be doing these things. I think my YouTube channel is being, um, I think my YouTube channel is being, what do you call it? Shadow banned or throttled or something like that. I do feel that some people tell me they don't get the alerts, or that every time I try to put a video up these days, it gets demonetized because I don't know why. All I'm having is conversations with people. Hi, Solar. All I'm having is conversations. What am I doing wrong, YouTube, that you would not like me having conversations with all kinds of people? I don't just have conversation with trans people. I have conversations with parents, with people who are possibly thinking of or detransitioners, just gay youth, all kinds of people. So I don't know. Oh, you got an alert. Thank you. So lately people have been telling me they haven't. Um, so here's what I want to really talk about today, and I hope you all chime in a little bit. So, one of the things that I personally, and this is my personal opinion, okay? Remember, I'm here. I don't know it all. Nope. You don't know it all. Nobody knows it all. Wait, there was something before we get into the social contagion. There was medical association. Okay. So there was something that I heard somebody say. It was this. Well, transitioning of children is backed by every medical institution, blah, blah, blah. And I thought to myself, wow. Just because the medical association, the pediatrics association, the American psychology or psychological association, just because they all are backing children transitioning, how does that make it right? How does that make it right? Just because the medical association, who's the medical association? Are they the end all be all? Let me throw this out there. Let me throw this out there because I don't trust those associations. Remember, they're associations. They're not end all be all. They're not God. They're not the stamp of approval for everything. You're allowed to disagree with your doctor or doctors. Doctors don't know everything. Doctors are practicing medicine. Remember that? Doctors are, remember they say practicing medicine. They're practicing medicine because medicine is forever changing. So here's what I want to say. Just because the American Medical Association backs puberty blockers, let me throw this in the hat. What about, remember Oxy? How insane Oxy was? It destroyed so many people's lives. Remember? Yet who backed that drug? Who backs psychological or whatever kind of drugs you want to call that can actually cause damage to a human? The addiction level of Oxy was out of control. Yet the American Medical Association completely stamped it, right? So why are you believing the American Medical Association, who stamps drugs that put people right? Oxycontin. That's right. And that stuff took people out. Hey, Cheryl. That stuff took people out. Yet the American Medical Association, all the medicine places, pharmaceuticals, they all were like, oh, this stuff is amazing. It'll alleviate your pain. It's beautiful. So when somebody says to me, well, Buck, the American Medical Association and the American Pediatrics Association, right, backs puberty blockers. And I say, really? Well, the American Medical Association also backed Oxycontin. So how is that any different? The fact that you are just so going to take the word of a doctor. And secondly, I want to say this, not all doctors belong to the American Medical Association. That's like a club, right? So yeah, I 100% believe it's always about money. It's always about money. You know how much money those Oxy Purdue or whatever the company was, right? Was it Sadler's? They made, I think, billions. Billions. Hey, Andrew. So I always push back on that trope that parents who are transitioning their kids come after me and they say, well, Buck, American Medical, all medical. So what? They're not. Who are they? Like WPATH. Let me tell you something about WPATH. They're not, they in no way, shape, or form are the authority on transition. They are a bunch of people who got together and created an organization, and many doctors disagree with WPATH, just so you know. They're not the end all be all. They're an association. Thanks, Celia. I appreciate that. The associations were taken over by activists. There you go. Several years ago. People should go read up on how this started. Oh, if you have a link for that, my friend, if you put it in the chat, I'll put it up here. I appreciate that. Thank you, friend. So yeah, there's this idea that just because the associations back puberty blockers, do some look, people, come on, don't listen to people. Don't do some research. Just put in Lupron and you're going to come up with so much insane shit. Here's a website for you, pubertyblockerssuck.org. There you go. Go look there. There's a ton of information on Lupron, which is what they're giving children. You know, I'm not going to get on board with that. I don't care what people call me. I don't believe it. I don't believe it works. I don't believe it's healthy. I don't believe I don't believe children will kill themselves if they don't transition. I don't believe it. I don't. And I'm an actual transsexual who does not believe that. You know, kids struggle. I mean, really, kids struggle, whether they're transgender or not. They're gonna struggle with something in their life. Now, okay, let's say a kid is struggling with their gender. What does that even mean? On some level, what does it mean when a 10-year-old, let's just pick randomly the number 10. What does it actually mean when a 10-year-old is struggling with their identity, with their gender identity? I don't even understand that. That, you know, they want to be a boy or they want to be a girl or they want to be trans. Now that seems to be the new trope. Hi, mommy, I'm trans. Well, really, that's not what transsexual people say. They say, I feel like a boy or a girl. But now all of these kids are saying they feel trans. What does it feel like to be trans? That's what I'd like to know. Hi, Cindy. Oh, it's great to see you, Cindy. Thank you. Thanks for bringing up the American Medical Association. Here, let me just put this here real quick because I can't read it over there. Thanks for bringing up the American Medical Association. I never thought of looking into it, and wow, just a few minutes. That's right. Thank you for looking into it. I appreciate that. Don't trust that. That's not a stamp of approval. Also, let me ask you this. If you were to be diagnosed today, you know, let's hope you never do, but let's just say you were diagnosed today with cancer, okay? Would every single one of you here just take that at face value from your doctor? Or would you actually go to another doctor and have a second or even a third doctor and have a third opinion? Diagnosed with anything. Let's say you even get diagnosed with diabetes, but cancer is pretty hardcore. So let's just say you get diagnosed with it. Are you just going to take the word of one doctor? Are you? Because I'm not. No way. Because I don't necessarily think doctors are God. I think doctors make mistakes. I think doctors are always learning new things. I think on some level, there's a high rate of narcissism in the medical world. And how do I know that? Well, I was married to a woman whose dad was a doctor. I've been around them. You know, it's my opinion. And I think there's a lot of narcissism within that medical space, right? That's right. They practice medicine. It's ever evolving. So why would you just take the opinion of one doctor? And why would you just let your child say they're trans without any mental health care are pushing through? Why would you just want to affirm that right out the gate? Is there any parent here with a trans kid? I don't even like using that that language, trans kid. I don't believe it. I don't believe the kid is trans unless they're either actually transitioning or they have been diagnosed with gender dysphoria. So a kid doesn't know they're trans. That's just not possible. A kid might think they feel like a boy or a girl. That's possible. But a kid does not know they're trans, and neither does the parent. And unless you're putting your kid through some kind of serious mental health situation, how do you actually know that? Do you take the word of your child like literally? Do you say everything your child says is 100% true? Because if so, I think you need to step back from that for a moment. So, who should someone listen to? That's a great question, CJ. Who should? That's my weird space I feel in, right? Because I said earlier, I get a ton of parents contacting me, right? Tons. Buck, my kid says they're trans. They came home today and they are just now insisting on a binder and they're insisting on a packer and they're insisting that they're trans. I'm like, what? Okay, well, your kid just came home, never said it before. Hey, Al, thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. I always appreciate you. You mean a lot to me. Thank you. Here, oh, we have a biology major in the room. As a biology major, I love when people say biological sex. It must really mess with you as a biologist. I have a lot of biologist friends, by the way. It must really mess with you as a biologist. Yeah, I also work closely with hormones and infertility and have a good understanding of how estrogen and testosterone. Right. I mean, you know why I have a good understanding of my hormones because on some level I had to self-medicate, right? I transitioned 30 years ago. They did not understand my actual endocrinologist, who's the guy who gave me my testosterone. He actually said to me, I don't know what I'm doing. You're going to be my guinea pig. Those words came out of his mouth. I don't know what I'm doing. You're going to be my guinea pig. Can you imagine today? It's exactly what's happening, just so you know. But they're not being honest to you. These guys don't know what they're doing. And want to know how I know that these endocrinologists don't know what they're doing? Because half the kids who contact me all have atrophy. Half the kids who contact me are having adverse reaction to testosterone. Well, why is that? If an endocrinologist is giving a biological female testosterone at a very high rate and doesn't understand the damage because it is damaging our bodies, right? And 30 years on testosterone. You don't see it. It's internal. So now all these young guys are writing, I have cramps. I don't know what's going. I just know how to diagnose it because I had it. I completely can diagnose vaginal atrophy because I know exactly those symptoms. I had them 20 years ago. So here we are still. Young trans guys are getting atrophy because they're being given testosterone and not being. So here's what I know. And the biologist in the room, I think I'm going to be correct on this from my own research. So here I am, 20 something years on testosterone, maybe 15, and I'm getting cramps and I'm freaking out. And I'm like, oh my God. And not one doctor knew what was going on. Not one. I would go to the gynecologist. That's a whole other story. Horrifying. Trying to figure out what's going on. They don't know. They're just telling me, go home and take some Advil. Go home and take. It just got worse. It got worse and worse and worse until my infection popped. My uterus and my cervix fused together because the testosterone removed the estrogen from my female reproductive system. Simple biology, right? Right? Biologist, simple biology. Put testosterone into a female-bodied person, me. It now disrupts the natural flow of the hormones, specifically the estrogen. So it starts to affect my reproductive system. Nobody knows what's going on. I got so sick, I almost died. I got septic. It popped. It was years and years and years of festering. That's what the cramping was. It popped and I became septic. And the doctor said if I didn't get to the emergency in 5 or more minutes, I probably would be dead. That's a real, actual story that I'm telling you that happened to me. Fast forward today, 2023, I get emails from young people. Trampa, Buck, help, I have these cramps. Nobody can tell me what they are. Not even the doctor who is administering the testosterone. Want to know how you don't get atrophy? You've got to supplement with estrogen. So here I am doing my own medical. I did my own medical because even my own endocrinologist couldn't help me, didn't know. This is the one thing that would have prevented me from getting that infection. Here's the one thing that would have prevented me from getting that infection. If they would have given me estrogen cream to insert inside of me. It's gross. It's horrible. It's insane. I couldn't do it. After my hysterectomy, they gave it. It's gross. But that would have prevented me from getting atrophy. They are not doing that with a younger generation today. They can actually stop it from happening by handing these kids some estrogen cream. Now, through my research, what I realized was I was sick as a dog after my hysterectomy, sick as a dog. My hormones were off. All I had in my body was testosterone. Can you imagine? I was like, ugh. So nobody told me to take estrogen. So I did a bunch of searches on menopause. Females only get menopause. So there I am looking at menopause. Oh my God, the menopause stories are crazy, you guys. Just search. People go lose their minds. I'm searching. What do? I find a supplement called DHEA. DHEA is a game changer. So I read about it. It basically, in a nutshell, it takes whatever hormone is lacking in your body and helps to create that hormone from the other hormone. So because I have all the testosterone, it takes from the testosterone and reverts it back to into estrogen, which then creates a level playing field in my body. Before, all I had was testosterone and low estrogen. I felt like I didn't have any energy. I was depressed. I was just crazy. So every day I take 25 milligrams of DHEA, and I've been doing that for 10 or so years to level out my testosterone. I figured that out all on my own through research of menopause. They're not telling trans guys any of this stuff. So the reason I'm telling you that story is because all this shit happened to me many years ago. Don't you think if the medical association was on top of what they're doing, they would be saying that to trans men? Don't you think so? Don't you think they would be offering that to trans men and say, hey, wait a minute, this testosterone is going to wreak havoc on your biologically female body? But now we can't even say biological female. So here's my point in that. If we do not accept our biology, we are not transitioning healthy. Because if you deny that you have a biologically female body and you're sticking testosterone in there, which is a foreign substance, it is going to wreak havoc. Yeah, that's right. Both genders make both. But what happens is when you remove the thing that created the estrogen, which were my ovaries create estrogen, and they were completely taken out. It made me crash and burn. Nobody, even in the doctor, told me after my hysterectomy that you should be taking some estrogen. Nobody told me that. I'm wondering if they're telling trans guys after they get hysterectomies. Do you think they're telling trans guys that? Hey, Ruth, thank you so much, friend. I know it's heavy. It's heavy. But thank you for joining us. It really means a lot to me. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to move in now to something that I really want to talk about, which is social contagion, right? Yeah, right. So then, wait, Selene, is that how you pronounce it? That's exactly right. They don't even realize that. Here, I want y'all to see this. What they don't realize is that excess testosterone causes diseases like PCOS. Clearly, too much of it weakens havoc on the female body. That's a actual factual statement right there. That is facts. So when you out there are telling us to deny our biology, you are not doing us a service. You are doing a disservice to us transsexuals. You are telling us to deny not our reality, the reality. You are telling us not to understand who and what we are in order to move forward. That is one of the most dangerous things ever, to lie about who we are. And when you say we are not biologically female, you're a liar. And you're hurting us, and you're hurting our medical space, and you're hurting all of our health. Because when these young people deny that they're female, what happens, do you think, when a young kid, okay? What happens when a young kid denies their biology? And all of a sudden they start having the cramps down there that I had in my vaginal space, okay? What happens? Because they're not going to be honest about their biology. They're not going to say they have a vagina. They're not going to say they have female reproductive system. So how are they going to take care of that cramping? How are they going to go to a gynecologist? A gynecologist deals with female reproductive system. That's what a gynecologist is. It's not for men. It's for trans men, but we're not men. We're trans men. You see where I'm leading on to this? That's why I keep telling you, you've got to stop denying biology. Because once you start doing that, it's a slippery slope. And then when you get sick, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go when your uterus is hurting, or you need a pap smear? Where are you going to go? If you're not going to acknowledge the fact that these are all belong to the female reproductive system. And when you show up at the doctor and the doctor asks you, are you male or female? I always say, I'm a transsexual man. I'm a biological female who lives at, I always say that exact sentence to the doctor. So that's me being honest, because my own healthcare. I don't care what people think about me. It's my healthcare and my body. It's my body. If I'm not honest with my own self. Hey, Grassman. Hi, Tramp. I was wondering if there's a place to talk to other transsexuals about more personal problems. How do you come to terms with the disconnection? You know, there isn't. All of those groups are gross. Just so you know, I wouldn't even tell you to go into any of them, especially the Facebook groups. They're so toxic and insane. And if you say something wrong, you get kicked out of the group. So how is that helping anyone? So, you know, I'm starting an organization called Transsexual Unity. I think it's transsexualunity.org. You can look it up right now. And it's just in its infancy, but we're really moving forward and we're getting a lot of people connected. So check it out and put your name on the mailing list, and we'll reach out to you when we're moving forward a little bit more. But we're creating a space to have this dialogue, and for other transsexual people who feel the need to sort of find other like-minded transsexuals. You know, we're not all going to agree on everything, and that's reality, people. Stop acting like we all have to be on the same page. No, we don't. No, we don't. The only thing that we actually need to understand is reality. I don't care what you think about who, what, where. You've got to stay in reality, and biology is reality. Now, moving forward with that, I really, really, really want to get on this idea of social contagion. Okay. I know it's a pushback thing that people don't want to talk about, especially in the trans community. We just have to reach middle ground. That's exactly right. It's a very important space. I do believe in social contagion. I don't know how you all believe, but I believe in social contagion, and I can see it with my own eyes. And I'm not drunk and stoned and wasted, and nope, I'm focused, and I watch, and I see, and I listen to what all of these people who are all of a sudden trans out of nowhere, I listen to what they're saying. I also listen to detransitioners, because detransitioners were once those kids, right? Buck Angel, can a spouse of course, 100%. We want everybody to join Transsexual Unity. You don't just have to be a transsexual to join Transsexual Unity. What Transsexual Unity is all about, and it's transsexualunity.org, what it's all about is about creating what I think it was the silenced lesbian. It's creating a middle ground space for all of us to sort of, try to get rid of the insanity, right? The insanity of the trans narrative and the trans activists. So that's the point of Transsexual Unity, is to come together because we're all like-minded. We just want to live our lives. Like, I don't expect anybody to agree with me in my transition. No way. I do not. It doesn't matter to me. I do not need you to agree. You might just think what I did is really sick and weird, and that's okay. You're more than welcome to think that. Honestly, it just, I for some reason, I don't think you can see past your own thing. And then that's why it doesn't really hurt me, because I would think that you would want a person like me to be happy. I would think that you would want to see the fact that I'm participating. I'm not pushing against anybody. I'm participating. And I would think that that's what you would want from somebody like me. And that's what I want you to see. I'm not a trans activist. I'm not pushing against you. I don't want to take your space. I've been living this way for 30 years. I think it's 31 now. So that's why I want to be around people who don't necessarily agree with what I am doing. Because if you don't see me and you don't actually hang out with me, even though we're only hanging out here, then you're not going to be able to form an actual real opinion. I think many people today are forming opinions about trans people because of the crazy trans people. And I want you to see a different side of that. And I want you to see that this really is an important choice I made. And I did not make it lightly. I did not make it from the internet. I did not have peer pressure from my friends. There's a lot of peer pressure out there with these young people. It's why I speak up. The kids that I talk to, they're like, well, I was butch, and then all my friends were trans, and then they said to me, well, you're butch, you're probably just trans. That's an actual real thing that's happening around these youth. So that's the social contagion. Because their friends are transitioning, they're sort of sucked into this space because their friends keep telling them, you're trans. You're not a lesbian, or you're not a butch dyke, you're trans. You're trans mask. So they feel this, and the ones I spoke to, they feel this sort of pull to have to do it, or they're going to lose their friends. Think about when you were 16. Think about that. When you were 16 years old and you were around all your friends, right? And let's say you disagreed, and then you got ostracized from your group of friends. Do you know how devastating that is for young people? Tribes, groups, all of it. I'm gonna use my kid in this particular thing. Okay. So I was at camp this weekend, family camp with my son and my wife and all the people from the school, and it was amazing and beautiful. But I love to watch how kids interact with each other, right? So the girls are over here, the boys are over here, and that's very natural, I think. I mean, I'm watching it happen. The girls don't want to play with the boys, and the boys don't. But then the boys have crushes on the girls. I'm watching the whole thing. It's actually really cute and awesome because they're just doing their thing, right? And somehow something happened between my son and a couple of his buddies, and things just happen. Kids get weird with each other. It's completely normal. But then I guess like his friend left with this girl that he wanted to hang out with. They're 10. I'm just like, oh, I didn't even know that. I can't remember when I was 10. Did I have crushes? But I think they do. So his buddy dropped him and took off with the girls, or wanted to go hang out in a different place. And it really made my son sad. I saw it. It did, because his friend bailed on him. And all he wanted to do was hang out with mom. Didn't even want me. He wanted his mom, because that's just the cutest thing ever. So usually he's like, ew, mom, get out of my room. Ew, 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 you're ew, ew, ew. But when it comes to that sensitive space, they always want their mom. It's an actual real thing. I watch it every time. So there he is, he goes and cuddles with his mom. But the point I'm trying to make here is he felt sad because his friend bailed on him and his friend group bailed on him. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. With these kids who are saying they're trans, to be a part of a group of people, and then they can't untrans, because if they say, I'm not trans anymore, what happens to these kids? They get ostracized from the group. These are young. 16 is young people. There's a lot going on there. There's just puberty and everything and blah. You get ostracized from your group of friends. It's devastating. It's devastating for a 16-year-old. So instead of being honest with themselves and saying, I'm not really trans. Oh, hi, beautiful friend. Hi, Mary. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I spoke with her. She lives in Israel and she's really sweet. And she was telling me a lot of stuff. Oh, I appreciate that. She was telling me a lot of stuff that's happening in Israel. But you see what I mean? So now the kid is trapped. Maybe they were trying the trans hat on. Maybe they were trying it on. And then they realized, I don't like it. It doesn't fit right. It doesn't feel good on me. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be trans. But these kids feel trapped. Because if they remove themselves from the trans friend group, which all their friends are trans, they get called names. They're told that they're bad and how stupid of them and just all kinds of insanity and bullying. Sorry for the silly question, but what is the and thank you, friend. What is the proper definition of queer? Okay. Excuse me. I'm not hearing any specific in the community and I'm confused. I love your work. Stay strong. Okay, Roxanne, first off, thanks, friend. I appreciate you sending me that. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Queer is same-sex attraction. You can't be straight and be queer. That doesn't work. Queer comes from the LGBT community. And T, but I'm just going to say it's a sexuality thing. Queer comes from it's a derogatory word that gay men, mostly, probably some gay women, but mostly gay men were called as an insult. You effing queer, you FFF queer was bad. It was a bad word. Just like maggot, but with an F, same thing. So now all of a sudden, people are just claiming to be queer who don't even have same-sex attraction or don't even have same-sex sex? Nope, wrong. That's called appropriation, by the way. That's appropriation. You've taken a word that actually has been reclaimed. And I also want to let you know this. There's a huge group of gay men who do not like that word queer because they were all called that word queer and they find it very insulting that some straight people would just come and take that word away. It's not cool. So I hope I answered your question and I want everybody here to understand. Queer is not just anything. It means something. Thank you, friend. Oh, hi, Roswell. Thank you, friend. It means a lot. Deviating from what is expected or normal, strange, odd. Okay, there you go. That's the word for queer. That's the definition in the dictionary. But in regards to the LGBT community, see, it means strange or weird. So on some level, when people back in the day were calling you queer, they were calling you a weirdo or a freak, right? They were queer, off. You're weird. It's exactly where that word came from, the LGBT community. And now straight people are calling themselves queer and they don't have same-sex attraction. They don't have same-sex sex. You're not queer. It's not just a word, by the way. So I'm going to lay that on top of trans. You can't just be trans. I'm sorry. You can't. That's it's, I don't even know what to equate it to. Let's say, okay, Asian. Let's say right now I'm just going to identify as Asian. You and I both know that's impossible. It's impossible. It's the same thing as trans. You cannot just identify as trans. It's not an identity. It's a situation that you deal with a dysphoric space, period. So as far as I'm concerned, that's been appropriated as well. And now we have all of these young kids feeling peer pressure. And what the name of this conversation today? Social contagion. I see it with my own eyes. You all see it. We talk about it all the time. And then people push back on us. Oh, Buck, of all people, you should know better. Well, what should I know? And what do you mean of all people? What does that even mean? So you think because I'm a transsexual person, I shouldn't see things that I actually see and that I should stay silent and not have the conversation because I'm a trans person? What the hell are you talking about? That's the reason why I should speak out. More than anything, any transsexual person that sees something that is wrong with what's happening, really, it's your duty as a trans person to speak out against the appropriation of our community. A child does not know they're trans. That is a croca. It is. It's not true. He's hearing or she's hearing from their peers, from the internet, from TikTok, from Instagram. Are your kids actually on TikTok? This is what I keep hearing from parents. When my kid came home from school, really? Are you sure it's school? Are you sure it's not the internet? My kid doesn't have access to the internet. I mean, he has for his video games, but he doesn't have access to any social media. Nope. Not happening. I don't care. I'm a bad dad. I don't care. All I care is in like 5 years, he'll thank me for it. For now, we'll have that bumpy ride. So far, it's been cool, and he hasn't really been begging me for it because I tell him all the time, dude, you don't want to be on there. It's disgusting. So I think he sort of hears me and I'm like, dude, just no, here, let's get a PlayStation. So me and you can play games together. And then that's a way for us to spend time together and he's not getting inundated and also indoctrinated. So I do believe that there is an indoctrination and a sort of it's social contagion around young people. No young person comes home from school one day and says, I'm trans. That's just not real. It's not real. That is social contagion. That is like, okay, I'm going to use this example. Thank you, friend. They need to stay away from our kids. I know. I hate it. I hate it more than anything. I hate that we have kids in this conversation. I hate it. I just don't believe kids should transition. I don't. And so do many other countries out there, and so do many other people. Yet here we are pushing this nonsense on little kids whose brains are developing, whose bodies are developing, who are being told there's no such thing as boys and girls. If I see a book like that again, I'm going to puke. Why would we teach kids there's no such thing as boys and girls? You want to bet? Bet me. Also, I just spent a weekend with a bunch of boys and girls and they separate. They're like oil and water. The girls go over here, the boys go over here. It's a real thing. They know they're boys and girls. But if you start giving books to kids that say everything is gender neutral and gender queer, and there's no such thing as a boy and a girl, the doctor assigns you, blah, blah, blah. What? What kind of a weird ass language is that? Hey, Tyler. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. So, you're teaching kids to lie. I don't know how many parents I have in this room this afternoon, but I don't know how you feel about this idea that a child can go to school and transition. I am appalled that we would let that happen. That is teaching bad behavior. My kid would never lie to me. Why? Because I told him to never lie to me. I told him, dude, even if you are scared to tell me because you maybe did something bad, ripped off the head of somebody else's GI Joe or some shit, I don't care. Tell me, because you're not gonna. You know how you're gonna get in trouble, dude? Because you're not gonna tell me, and I'm gonna find out from so and so's parent. That's how you're gonna get in trouble, dude. You're not going to get in trouble by saying, hey, you know what, Dad, I just edited it out. Okay, cool. Let's figure this out right now. Why did you do that? Did you apologize? And let's figure that out. There you go. But when a school is telling my child that you can transition at school and your parents never need to know, what? Those are my kids. They're not your kids. Okay. First off, you're a teacher, that you stay in your lane. Secondly, maybe I don't want my kid to know about LGBT issues. Maybe I'm very religious, right? Maybe I'm very religious and I don't want that in my life. Oh, hey, Roxanne, I'm a drag king and I keep hearing people say queer, but it didn't sound right. Drag doesn't immediately trans, gay, etc. But everyone says to me it does. I'm worried about kids. Oh God. You know, friend, it's such a mess. We've been appropriated. There's just no doubt about it. And I'm so cool. That's so cool that you're a drag king. Right on, friend. I have a lot of drag king friends. That's so cool. Hey, Shelly, thank you, my friend. Darn, unfortunately, I have to leave soon and do some kid therapy. Excellent. We have therapists in the room. But I'd love to join you sometime, Buck. Oh, I would love for you to reach out to me and maybe I can bring you on. I think that would be cool. People could ask you questions. Maybe I can make it a parent live, right? So I would try to get all the parents here and then maybe you can, answer some questions or do something like that. That would be really cool. Thank you, Shelly. Thanks for joining us today. That means a lot. So this is why I believe in that social contagion is happening. I was a lost kid. I was a kid who didn't fit in. I was a kid that was always seeking something. I was a kid who felt like a boy and wanted to be a boy. And all the boys luckily let me play with them, right? I was totally a boy. Hey, Kelly, thank you, friend. My daughter got caught up when she was 13. Ugh. It seems to be the magic number these days. We pulled her from school and cut off TikTok. She is a grown woman now. Oh my God, you're going to make me cry. She is a grown woman now, married, has children, and even will tell you she has lied to. She was lied to and misinformed. Wow, would I love to interview her? I know people don't necessarily, if she wants to. I mean, look, I actually have tears in my eyes. I'm not kidding. You saved your kid. You saved your kid, Kelly. You did what I tell people to do. I tell them all the time, take your kid away from those people. They're hanging out with people. Look at what happened. Look, Shelly proved it. I'm sorry, Kelly proved it. You proved it, Kelly. What I say all the time, it's social contagion. She took her out of TikTok, got her out around her influential friends, whatever you want to call them, and went back to living a normal. Oh, I would love to talk to her. Wow, you're amazing. You're amazing, Kelly. You did a beautiful thing for your child. Beautiful. Friend's 12-year-old said schools making everyone. Okay. Okay. I'm tapping out. What? Wait. Oh my God. So am I reading this right, my friend? Your 12-year-old says that in school, the other 12-year-olds are saying school's making everyone gay. If that's, oh my God, I'm actually blown away right now. So even 12-year-olds see what's going on. Even 12-year-olds. Washington passed a law, you have to let your kid transition. Do you know how fast I would move from that state? Do you know how fast I would move? How sick is that? First off, whatever. Let's put the transitioning of kids over here. The state. Here we are. The state now owns your kids. Because if you don't do what the state tells you to do with your kid, which is transition, what? That is insanity. That is sick and not American. That is the most un-American thing I have ever seen. How dare you tell parents what to do with their children? Now, as you all know, we have safeguards in place for kids. Of course, if there's wingnut parents who beat the crap out of their kids or try to do some kind of, um, therapy with them to change whatever, all of that bullshit. So parents who beat them up, and that's why we need a system. But and that I agree with. But that's not the same as telling me that I have to transition my kid if he comes home from school tomorrow and says he's trans. I can't even question it. That's not no. No. Are you kidding me? No. This is a slippery slope, people. This is the beginning of the end. When the state can tell us what we know is not true, because we know transitioning of children is not the right thing to do, that we all know that, yet now we are forced to do it. It's why I would never live up in that space. I would never live in Oregon or Washington. No offense to any of you that live there, but I just never would. I just never would. I don't, it's too woke, for lack of a better. I hate that word woke. They call it a sanctuary state, as if every other state, right, is so bad. And so, no, let me tell you something. To all you people out there who keep calling these laws anti-trans laws, no, they are not. These laws are put in place to safeguard children from making irreversible choices, because we have idiots out there telling us that a 12-year-old knows, yeah, it's okay, cut my tits off. What? What world do you people live in? That is not okay. That is inappropriate. And no child knows that they can cut their boobs off and be okay with it. They don't even know what they're doing. Of course they don't want their boobs. Of course they don't want their periods. Nobody does. And if it was such a level playing field, why is it only girls? Answer me that. Why is it only girls transitioning at a high rate? Yeah, we got some boys doing it, but it is nowhere near. I think it stayed the same for the boys as it always has been. It's girls. So if it's so not social contagion, because if it wasn't social contagion, it would be level across the board. It would be boys and girls. Not only that, thank you, Teresa. Canada here, parents can go to jail if they don't. I know. It's why I'll never go to Canada. My dad's Canadian, by the way, and he's appalled by all of this crap. And my dad has a transsexual son, okay? And my dad sees all of this. And he's disgusted by Canada. Canada's lost it. Canada's way more insane than America, which is saying a lot. I'm sure you know. Though I love my Canadian family and all of that, and my friends. I have tons of friends. I just think the country is losing it. They're losing their minds. They're going. It's more than woke. What would you call more than woke? Broke? It's kind of crazy, you guys. Hey, Tyler. Thank you, my friend. Your reality, Buck, as child was exactly my experience. I'm glad to just have a childhood being a boy in my own world, not letting anyone tell me otherwise or think differently. Being trans isn't nice. That's right. So when I say reality, Tyler, I'm talking about actual reality. So my reality could be that I see something in a different way, right? That's my reality. The reality is biology. That's the reality. Okay. It's not something that I only see or that I only know. It's an actual fact. Factual space is reality. My reality could be that, in my reality, I see myself as a man, though that's not the reality. The reality is that I'm an actual biological female. So you see the difference there? That's sort of what I'm trying to get across, right? I think everyone has their own way of reality, but there is also reality. And when you start telling me that biology is a social construct, that's your reality. That's not the reality. So the reality is that we are all biologically male and female. All of us. Me and you. Male and female. That's it. There's nothing else. Don't bring intersex into this. Please don't. That's a very small minority of people, and they're not trans. Intersex is not trans, and they should not be lumped into the same space. They're two different things. Knock it off. And it's such a small thing. I'm talking about the majority of the world is male and female, period. Has nothing to do with your identification. You can identify as a cow as far as anyone cares. What we're trying to say here is this. If we don't acknowledge our biology and we don't get back on track, not only as transsexual people, we will lose so much that we have already gained. Mark my words. Mark my words. These people are taking away the rights of actual transsexual people who need medication, who need surgery, who need mental health care, who need to be able to walk the world as men and women. I don't care about your identification. I don't care about your pronouns, what it says in your bio, how you dress, I don't care. Nobody cares. We've never cared. What we care about is when you start telling kids that there's something they're not. And what we care about is when you start lying to parents about why your child needs to transition. That's what we care about. We care about the future of what trans medicine really is. We care about the fact that there are people called detransitioners who are part of this community and who have been put through this insane, unregulated trans system, only to further hurt the trans world. I will not stand for it. There is social contagion happening at this moment. And I hope as parents, you are hearing what I'm telling you. I want everyone to transition who needs to transition. I want every person who transitions to have awesome, beautiful health care. I want them to have access to mental health care. I want them to have access to the things they need in order to change their space. What I do not want is sloppy medicine without any understanding of what each of us needs as an individual. I'm not the same as the other trans guy, nor is he the same as me, nor is there such a thing as a trans kid. These are children who are dealing with possible dysphoria, possible mental health problems, possible depression, anxiety, autism. Should I go on? Yeah, we're not even addressing those issues. We're going straight to the medicine. In what world do we go straight to the medicine without any diagnosis? A diagnosis is when you go to a doctor and spend time having tests, having things done, spending time with that person who's a professional who can make these assessments on your child through a term and not 20 minutes. If you think a doctor can actually diagnose you in 20 minutes, you don't even understand medicine and you don't understand gender dysphoria. Because your child says, I'm a trans or I'm a boy, you're just going to say, yeah. So if your kid says, I want $100 on a credit card and I want a Tesla, are you going to say, yeah? Because it's that absurd. I feel for you parents out there. I am lucky. My kid isn't sucked into the bullshit at all. Not in any way, shape, or form. He is. I feel for the parents who are getting sucked into this BS. It must be so heartbreaking. Thank you, friend. I was devastated when my husband and I couldn't conceive. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Every day I grow more grateful we can't bring kids into the insanity. I mean, I totally hear you, friend. I hear you. You know, but you sound like you would have been a great parent. But you know what? Maybe you can adopt. I don't know if you've looked into that or fostering some kids. Fostering is kind of insane. I was looking into fostering, but it's a bit much. I don't know if I can actually handle it. You need to have super skills. Yeah, I know. It's actually sad. I feel bad for the kids today. I really do. I actually feel bad. They're being stuck. I mean, whoever said that over there said their 12-year-old is saying they're turning everyone gay. They're actually saying that. A 12-year-old said that about their school. They're turning everyone gay. That's what a 12-year-old sees. Kelly says, Canada and US, they did this once before. They stole Native children. I know. From parents and put them in Indian boarding schools. You're right. There's a lot of similarities going on here. They're literally taking the kids away from parents if they don't transition. It's an experiment. It's an actual experiment. There's no other word for it. We know every country shut it down. We know it's done. We all see. Yet here's the American Medical Association, the American Pediatrics Association, the American Psychiatric Association, WPATH, all putting their stamp of approval on transitioning children. You're going to believe those wingnuts? Those are organizations, people. They're not the authority. Remember that. When you tell me, well, Buck, they all endorse it. Yeah, guess why they endorse it? There are surgeons doing one surgery a day. Can you imagine? 30 surgeries a month. Add that up. It's just horrible. So we're going to end this today. I got to go do a podcast in Quebec. I'm doing a podcast for Quebec right now. I guess it's going crazy there too. And in Israel, it's taking over in Israel. I have some Israeli moms reaching out to me. It's quite contagious. It's now not only becoming a social contagion, it's becoming sort of like a universal contagion. We all must start to speak up. I beg of you, no matter what anybody calls you, you know reality. You see it. Don't get gaslit by these people telling you that you don't see it. You know exactly what you see. You would not be hanging out with me if you didn't see what I see. I know that for a fact. So we all see it. And it's not cool if we all don't start speaking up. I know some of you can't publicly speak up. You can do other things. Support organizations that are helping to do this. Support people, back them who can do these things, because we have one commonality between you and I. It's the kids. Get those grubby hands off of those kids. Hey, Tyler, transitioning for me as an adult helps my dysphoria. That's right. I hope so. That's the whole point, right? But just being a kid was the best thing for me, and I love my parents for that. Right on, Tyler. Thank you for saying that. We got a kid here who transitioned as an adult. He didn't transition as a kid, though he had dysphoria as a kid, and his parents didn't push it on him. So have a beautiful day, everybody. Thank you all again for joining me. It really means a lot to me. I do love having these chats with you. I always leave feeling very uplifted because I believe that we're making some headway, and we're really bringing the conversation that they're trying to hide, to the forefront. And I don't care what people think about me, honestly. I'm here for hopefully helping people not become detransitioners. That's just insane that we have detransitioners. So remember, spread love, spread awareness, stay in reality. Don't second guess yourself. Know when someone's gaslighting you. And if you need anything, you can always reach out. And Seth didn't make it today, but you all, I think he puts his email address on one of the things. If not, just reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter. And I'll see you all next week, my friends. And I appreciate you. Have the beautiful day that you all deserve, okay? And stay strong and powerful. This is how we're going to beat this